Welcome to the NCRS Insider, bringing you into the NCRS world with your host, Steve Thazier.
Welcome to another NCRS Insider episode. We are once again straying a little bit away from the NCRS platform, but not by far. Today we're going to look closely at the history of Corvette emblems. With Corvette celebrating its 70th year in 2023, there were significant changes in emblems throughout that duration. We will discuss how the original emblems came to be and how they evolved over the years. We are breaking this up into 3 episodes. So today we'll be hitting up C1s through C3s. We're getting into some details, so this is a long one.
Let's start way back to 1953 when the first Corvette was coming to reality. Harley Earl wanted to develop an American-made two-seat sports car to take on the rival European sports cars that were being produced. In conjunction with the development of the car, a new logo was to be created to symbolize it being a true American sports car. The original logo was created by Robert Bartholomew, who was a Chevrolet interior designer at the time. His concept had crossing flags, with one of them being a checkered flag and the other an American flag. The first logo was going to appear as an emblem on the Corvette prototype being introduced at New York's Waldorf Astoria Hotel in January of 1953. However, as the story goes, 4 days before the Corvette was to be revealed at the Waldorf, Chevrolet management decided that the logo had to be redesigned since it was illegal to use the American flag on a commercial product. So the result was a similar emblem, but a checkered flag was placed on the right side and a red flag was placed on the left side, which contained both a Chevrolet bow tie symbol and a fleur-de-lis. So what is a fleur-de-lis? It is actually a lily flower that is commonly used as a decorative design. It is also often associated with France as a symbol for peace and purity. You may recognize it if you are a New Orleans Saints fan. So how did the fleur-de-lis end up on an American sports car? Well, at the same time period, Chevrolet was conducting research on various emblem designs for their cars. They looked at the Lewis Chevrolet family history as inspiration to come up with some type of logical logo or icon to utilize. Despite the research that was done, they pretty much came up empty. Since Chevrolet is a French name and the fleur-de-lis is a French symbol, they decided to use the fleur-de-lis along with the Chevrolet bow tie on a new flag. Below the fleur-de-lis are 3 horizontal lines which represent the 3 Chevrolet brothers. When the 1953 Corvette first appeared to the public at the Waldorf Astoria Hotel, the redesigned logo was proudly in place on the front nose of the car. In addition to the cross flags, the words Chevrolet and Corvette were incorporated into a round emblem. Below the emblem was a script that read Corvette in gold letters. This, however, was scrapped for the production car.
This was the beginning of a long line of cross-flag emblems or some type of variation that would sit at the front of every Corvette that was manufactured over the next 70 years. We will also explore the other emblems attached to Corvette bodies in various places on the car.
For 1953, there was a chrome script reading Chevrolet placed on each side just behind the front fenders. These remained mostly the same through the 1955 model year. However, once the V8 engine was developed, the Chevrolet script at the side had a large V in the middle for those cars equipped with the new V8 engine. In 1956, a major restyling of the Corvette exterior occurred, and the cross flag emblem was changed up a bit. The cross flags were still a similar design, although they were more upright and a gold chevron was added at the base of the flags. The Chevrolet Corvette words were still incorporated into a round emblem. This emblem ran through the 1957 model year. In 1956, a similar emblem was placed at the rear of the car on the trunk lid. With the addition of fuel injection as an option in 1957, a new emblem was added to both side coves on cars so equipped. It consisted of a script that read "fuel injection" as well as a separate cross flag emblem just to the front of it. 1957 cars without the fuel injection had nothing located in the cove. Starting in 1958, the cross flag emblem was placed on the sides of all Corvettes. This was in place until 1960. In 1961, the front nose emblems changed a bit with the cross flags displayed with the chevron, but no longer in a circle. Below the emblem was the word Corvette in individual chrome letters spread across the front of the car. The emblem was a one-year only feature. Also in 1961, the side cove's cross flag emblem disappeared and a new three-piece emblem design was created. In the center was a chrome rectangular piece with the word Corvette recessed in black letters. Above and below were smaller rectangular pieces that were red and blue. In 1962, the front nose emblems changed with the cross flags displayed with a thin chrome outer ring that had a void space in between so the body color was revealed. Also in 1962, the side cove emblems were now a similar design as the 1961 front emblem, except the chevron was lowered and a red, white, and blue section was added just above the chevron. Those Corvettes with fuel injection had a small rectangular emblem underneath the cross flags with a fuel injection script.
1963 marked the beginning of the era of the second generation Corvette. As I'm sure most of you know, this was quite a departure from the C1 in styling and performance. Not only was there an all-new Corvette design, but a unique emblem design was created as well. Although the C2 run was only 4 years, each year had significant changes in emblem design.
For 1963, the front nose cross flags were a bit more abstract, but there were still two distinct flags similar to the original design. The center section was in the shape of a V, and there is a triangular red, white, and blue section in the center. The emblem was rounded to follow the contour of the center hood bulge. Some things that did not change were the emblems at the side just behind the front fenders. This was the same as the 1962 side emblem, however for fuel-injected cars a new red, white, and blue rectangular emblem was placed below. 1963 was the first year of the Stingray, so a new emblem was placed on the rear deck. A Corvette script with rectangular Stingray in 2 words was underneath. The front nose emblem was changed once again in 1965. The typical cross flags were back, but in a more simplified form. The emblem continued to take the shape of the center hood bulge. In 1965, the Corvette was offered with a big block 396 cubic inch engine. Corvettes that had such an option had an alternate side emblem that depicted a similar cross flag as the front nose, but with the words 396 turbojet in a rectangular section at the bottom. Similarly, in 1966, when the big block went up to 427 cubic inches, the same emblem was displayed, although with the 427 indicated. In 1966, there was a slight adjustment to the rear deck Corvette Stingray emblem. Rather than the previous offset of the word Stingray, they were now placed directly below the word Corvette, which was greatly compressed in its width. This emblem was also now placed in the front corner of the hood, so it was on opposite corners of the car, although this was only done in 1966. For 1967, the big block engine now had individual numbers to display the cubic inches. 427 was displayed on each side of the raised Stinger hood. This continued into the C3 generation for the 1969 model year.
In 1968, when the third generation premiered, there was a substantial change in the body and interior, yet the chassis remained the same as the C2. Emblems continued to evolve through the long 15-year run of C3s.
The front nose emblem for the 1968 was very similar to the side emblems that premiered in 1958. The main difference is the flags actually touch the handles of the flag and the flare is slightly reduced in width. The same emblem design was displayed on the rear gas door, however, it ran until 1973. At the rear end of the car, Individual letters spelling Corvette were placed between the rear tail lights, very similar to the front letters that premiered on the 1961 Corvette. In 1974 and 75, the font changed slightly. This would start a long tradition of displaying the Corvette name at the rear of the car. In 1969, the Stingray reappeared after a one-year hiatus. However, this time it was one word. A Stingray script was mounted on each side behind the front fender. This would be in place through the 1976 model year. The front nose emblem for 1973 and 74 still displayed the basic cross flag design, but had a plastic reflector-type background and a black outer ring that displayed the words Chevrolet Motor Division at the top and Corvette at the bottom of the ring. In 1975 and 76, it was a similar design, although the outer black ring and letters were deleted. In 1973, an engine displacement emblem was placed on both sides of the hood bulge. The base engine cars had a red L48 designation, and the optional 250 horsepower engine had an L82 emblem. 1977 had a change to the rear Corvette letters. Rather than individual letters spread out, a single emblem with all the letters attached was used. This would stay through the remainder of the C3 era. However, a change in the font was introduced in 1980. 1977 brought a big change to the cross flag proportions. The displays on the flag remained as a similar design, but the emblem got considerably wider as compared to the height. The rear gas door emblem and the side emblems changed to the same design. Gone was the Stingray script on the sides. This would remain the same through the 1979 model year. 1978 was a significant year in that it started a trend of celebrating anniversaries in special edition Corvettes. Since 1978 was the 25th anniversary of the Corvette, Chevy commemorated this with a special 25th anniversary edition. This had a special 25th anniversary emblem on the front nose consisting of the latest cross flag with a round background stating Corvette at the top and 1953 anniversary and 1978 at the bottom. Continuing Chevy's tradition of changing up the cross flag design, a new more abstract emblem was introduced in 1980. This one was even wider than the previous version, with long narrow flags and handles that no longer crossed. It was placed on the nose and the gas doors. However, the gas door did not have the slightly angled flags like the nose. 1981 was the same design, however the chrome outline was changed to black. In 1980, the engine displacement emblem was changed for the higher performing L82. This was now a basic chrome emblem and placed on the front side fenders. No more cross flags were on the sides, and there were no longer L48 emblems. In 1982, the last years of the C3 generation, the cross flag emblem changed back to a true cross flag but maintained its longer straight proportions. The black outline remained, and the same emblem was placed on the nose as well as the gas door. 1982 presented another special edition with the Collector's Edition. The emblem displayed the same cross flag as the base cars, however there was a black ring that crosses the flags that says Corvette at the top and Collector's Edition at the bottom. This was at the nose and gas door. 1982 also had a unique engine. On the sides, behind the front fender, the Crossfire injection script was displayed in chrome letters with a black outline. So those are the emblems that were displayed on C1, C2, and C3 Corvettes. In part 2 of the series, we will explore the emblems on the C4 through C6 Corvettes.